Hey everyone, welcome to Talk of the Town. This is a podcast where we talk about all things media, creators, business, and more. My name is Tristan. I am the host of the podcast. If you are tuning into the podcast for the first time, thank you very much. And if you're returning from previous episodes, thank you so much for coming back and listening to new episodes. Now, in this episode, what we're going to be talking about is the new Twitter verification as part of Twitter Blue. And on top of that, what this means for the future of content creators, influencers, social media in general, and everything like that. Now, also before I get into this episode, I also want to apologize to you guys for the lack of episodes over the last couple weeks. I know, as I mentioned in the Ground Zero episode, that we're going to be doing 3 episodes a week. And the last couple weeks, it's just been very hectic. I've been also trying to reach out to potential guests for the podcast to have them on every so often. And that has been taking up a little bit of time. So I do apologize, but there will be consistent episodes moving forward. Now, for those that don't know about this whole thing happening with Twitter, I need to give a little bit of a crash course and everything. Obviously, towards the end of October, Twitter was bought officially by Elon Musk for somewhere in the range of like $44 billion, I believe. And it's been a quite sweeping change of events happening over at Twitter, firing a lot of people and changing the way that Twitter does things. And one of the things that Elon Musk has talked about wanting to do is open up Twitter verification to practically all people on the platform, but under the guise of adding it to Twitter Blue. Now, Twitter Blue was this subscription service that Twitter made sort of as a way to improve revenue and really also give something, beneficial to the platform where you could have things like editing tweets or undoing tweets, being able to customize the navigation of the app, all sorts of other things in between. And so this was something that a lot of people have seen, as somewhat of a beneficial thing over time. I know it's been around for quite some time and so forth. Now, we need to talk about why this makes sense, for Elon to push Twitter Blue. Twitter's historically a company that has been reliant on its advertisers, right? If you go back and you look at its public filings, it was a company that made practically almost its entire revenue from advertising on the platform compared to other platforms like YouTube, which makes money from creators, it makes money from its parent company, it makes money from advertisers, from yada yada yada, right? The same with Twitch, right? Twitch makes money from all sorts of things. TikTok the same as well, even Facebook, for instance, in comparison. Now, ultimately, why Twitter is deciding, or really Elon Musk is deciding, to add verification to Twitter Blue is ultimately to sort of level the playing field, right? We need to talk about how the old system with Twitter verification used to be compared to now so that you guys can kind of understand why it is that Twitter is making the decision to have verification badges as part of Twitter Blue. Basically, the way that Twitter verification used to work is kind of a complex situation, and it really comes down to a couple ways. Either one, you were someone that was really influential, really well known, a celebrity, or someone that maybe worked at a news publication, a corporate position in a Fortune 500 company, so forth and so forth. Or you also had the unfortunate instance of so many accounts impersonating you that you they needed to eventually have verification to determine which is the real account. However, there's been recently a lot of information coming out that's also being confirmed by places like The Atlantic and even Elon Musk himself that really show behind the scenes for at least a period of 10 or so years that Twitter's verification system was a pay for use situation. And what I mean by that is I actually saw this article from The Atlantic where they talked about how if you spent $15,000 a month for a period of 3 months, or I think it was, something of that nature, right? But like, let's say a minimum of $15,000 overall, you would end up getting Twitter verification. Some of your staff would get verification, or there were just people in general taking $20,000 as a fee to get you Twitter verification. And this has been again corroborated by the chairman from Wall Street Bets, who literally said that his account had been denied, under the regular application for verification, but then someone from Twitter reached out to him behind the scenes and told him $15,000 will get you Twitter verification. And Elon Musk himself did confirm this. So this is something that's not entirely surprising, right? And now with the way that Twitter Blue and Twitter in general will have verification badges, we are starting to see a lot of people really utilizing this subscription service. I've seen a lot of people in my circles using it. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of abuse with this, and I think when you're rolling something out this much, there's going to be little outliers or really dangerous situations that does happen, but such is the case with testing out something and seeing how the internet lets it go. Now, as far as what this means for people on Twitter, for content creators, influencers, X, Y, and Z, honestly, I think that this is a really good thing. And the reason why is because it levels the playing field for creators of all sizes. We in social media culture over the last 5, 6, 7 years have really become fixated on getting this sort of level of success that is determined by the amount of followers you have, if you're verified, if you have this person following you, X, Y, and Z, or how other people look at you on social media, right? And we prop up these people who had Twitter verification or were massive on other platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, right? Even looking again like people like Charlie D'Amelio, who many places called her the queen of TikTok, right? So I think this sort of brings down that level of really chasing for these things, because it's now I can get Twitter verification and be part of this club and everything in between. I also think that it's great because what it does is it also, from a influencer standpoint, I think creates the ability for people to hopefully kind of build a brand, right? I think a lot of people have always had this fear that a brand will work with me because I'm not established, I'm not verified, and now this could happen, right? I still think in those cases with like brand sponsorships and partnerships and corporate sponsors, you'll still see your followers, your metrics being taken into account. But I think overall, this is actually going to help out a lot of creators more than it has in the past, right? And it's also, one of the things I understand with Twitter verification now is it's going to make your tweets seen higher than those that are not verified on the platform. And I think that ultimately that's a smart bet as well, right? It's a great social media tactic a lot of people should be utilizing if they're trying to grow a brand and everything in between. Now, ultimately, there's going to be obviously trials and errors, and seeing what goes right and wrong with Twitter verification being given to the masses. But I think for right now, in the era of social media and culture and everything in between, having Twitter verification being given to everybody is a good thing. And I look forward to seeing what is done in the future with this and everything like that. So I open the conversation up to you guys on social media. What do you guys think about Twitter verification finally being opened to the masses on social media? Do you think this is good?